I've been looking through my memories. I've been trying to see your face.
How's everyone doing? Just thought I would make a video myself, just add on to the podcast, because I know you probably notice as soon as Bebe starts talking, you cannot actually get a bloody word in edgeways. So you try to ask opinions and everything, but sometimes she likes to talk over her father, or padre as she likes to say. Yeah, it's just obviously to build on what we're discussing about different aspects and different things about trans, and how do you cope with it. Not really a coping mechanism, but how do you see, how does it fit into your daily way of life. I'm just out for a walk with the dogs at the minute. Beautiful Ayrshire, if you can see. That kind of helps you to cope with many things in life, actually. Surrounding yourself with beautiful things, being one of them. It was quite easy for me to understand my daughter, how she transitioned into the person that she is. If I give you an example, years ago, my sister passed away through cancer, and obviously it was a bad time for all of us, like, you know what I mean, but we went through everything, went through the funeral and all that sort of stuff, which is, you get to, that's life, you know what I mean. People come and go and everything, right? But the one thing that stuck out for me would be, like, as I said, all through life, like, you get different, you look at things differently, right? But a couple of months, maybe a year after that, B companies and said, I want to do a charity, what was it? When you have a cup of tea, for Macmillan Cancer Research. So it's like a cake day. So you're baking cakes, you're making tea, and you're raising money for charity. Now bear in mind, B was at the time Bradley and 10-year-old, and that's what's going through her mind. That's how big her heart is. So she did. She set it about. She got all the invites out, got people around to a local place. It was over the local school, actually. Got people around and raised about £500-600 for charity. And that to me showed how this person, my child, was born with such a massive heart. I was so proud. So anything, when you live to the expectations of having somebody with such a big heart, it's so easy to love them no matter what, or no matter how, what changes they're going through. It's very easy to support somebody who's just such a nice person inside, because that's really what life's about, just to be nice. Yeah. This is going to run out of a recording soon, so I'll pick it back up. I just wanted to get that down while I was walking along.
Too, Dad, how do you feel for our first week of our launch?
That was good.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's been a wild week. First of all, thank you to our listeners and our viewers that have been have literally took the time out of their week to listen to a whole hour of me and my dad talking absolute It's a bit of a shocker, but yeah, we're actually so thankful for all the support and everybody's comments, and it's been overwhelming, to say the least. I'm not going to lie, it's been mental, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah. I've got a lot of people from work and friends. I was going to say family and friends, but I don't really hear very much from people down in Sunderland. So a lot of friends commenting saying, "Hi," just say they sat there and they listened to it and they watched the video. And I was surprised to see. I mean, why would you take your time out to listen to it? That's what basically it does. It makes you so happy. You're going, oh, you're actually taking your time out.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. I think this week has just been like a very eye opener. I think as well. Like I've had a few messages. Obviously, people telling me more about their stories and all that, and like personal stuff and all that. And it's just like, oh my god, like how do we even get here? Like how like, you know what I mean? This is just like mental that people are listening to us and actually enjoying what we've got to say and all that. But Yeah, let's take it off. This week's episode, I really wanted to focus on the topic of how young is too young. And with regards to that, I mean, like, with your transitioning and all that, I know obviously Dad, obviously we had a couple of messages about people asking like how young is too young to start a transition, like, and like with that kind of like going to doctors and starting the kind of hormone like replacement therapy and a lot of that kind of stuff. It's yeah, it's been a bit crazy. Did I ever actually tell you about like how my transition started? Like how my like obviously like my kind of ins and outs.
No, no, because you've always been. It's always been quite quiet to yourself because you're just kind of happening and doing it in yourself, and cracking on, but never really sat down and said, right, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, and this has been my order I need to do it in. Because even, I mean, the other week when you're talking about, right, so I need to start looking at things about getting a boob job and all that, and I was thinking, because at first I'm thinking to myself, are you wanting to turn into a full woman? And then what you said to us was actually pretty surprising. That you want to get the top half done first, but not the bottom half at the minute, because that's a permanent change.
And
So what do you mean by it?
so the bottom half, like to get obviously, if you actually were to search on the internet, obviously like quite a lot of trans women and all that don't really like talking about the bottom half surgery. They kind of keep it to themselves, or well, obviously in a lot of cases they'll keep it to themselves and not really talk about it. With myself, the bottom half surgery it's only really been something I thought about like literally in the past couple of months. Not really thought about. It was like overwhelming, like when you're that young, being like 15, 16, 17, 18, it's a lot to even start thinking about that, because it's an irreversible surgery. It's a life-changing surgery, so it's something that I always say to myself, and it's the same thing that I obviously give to like people that are listening as well, the kind of advice that even if you are 100% sure at 14, 15, 16, 17 that you are trans, please just maybe wait another 6 months. Like, just ask yourself in 6 months' time, and then ask yourself in 6 months again. Not because like I'm doubting your like people's intentions of their transition or like how legit people are, not doubting that at all, but it's just something that is so life changing and so crazy changing. So basically, my transition of me actually starting to like look into details and all that of transition started when I was about 14, maybe. Yeah, at 14, I had a friend in my art class who was 2 years above me in school, and he was transitioning from female to male, and I had a lot of like deep conversations with them, like during art classes and all that, and like how obviously it started, because I had no idea like where to even start. Like literally I had nowhere to start. I knew there was something a bit different. It was always kind of like at that point I was kind of questioning my sexuality and my gender and all that as well. So basically what I did was, it was actually in September, it was the sponsored walk, and as we were walking along the beach back from the sponsored walk, my friend obviously
I remember that.
my friend told me about the I think it's a Sandyford clinic. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Sandyford clinic in Glasgow, which is like the only, at that time it could be different now. Obviously, I've not been back for a couple of years, but at that point, that was the only place in Scotland who would actually see children with gender dysphoria or young adults who were obviously like confused about their gender and all that. That was the only place. And basically, what I did was I called them up, and obviously I was like, they were like, yeah, we can book an appointment and all that, but there were wait times. So I was 14 turning 15, or maybe 13 turning 14, I'm pretty sure. Or I maybe just turned 14. Anyway, it doesn't actually matter. But basically they were like that to me, yeah, it's going to be like a long waiting list. And I never realised long waiting list meant like genuinely, that was a September, and then I never got an appointment to go and see them until December the year after. It's literally just going, not for, I mean, for, that was not to start anything to do, that was genuinely to go and speak to somebody about my gender dysphoria. So can you imagine waiting? That's like September, October, November, December, January, and then I feel, yeah, it's a long time to wait. And obviously I said to them, like, they usually send out letters for your appointment, and I was like, at that point I was like, the thought of my mum opening a letter, because obviously you know my mum, that letter would definitely be getting opened if it was coming through my mailbox. I was like, the thought of my mum opening a letter to see that I'd booked an appointment to go and see these people without telling them was like intense. I was like, that cannot happen. I'm not ready for my mum to, like, for anybody to find this out yet at all. So basically what ended up happening is they'd sent me an email. They never actually ever sent me an email, and basically when I was staying, I'd booked my flights to Australia and all that, and was when I phoned up again. I was like, I actually did phone a couple of years ago to get an appointment and never ever heard back from them and all that. And they were like, oh yeah, it was your actual appointment was like on the 21st of December. And this was like the January or February after that time. They were like, oh, it was actually due on the 21st of December, but I'd never got any note, because obviously they said, obviously they must have noted that I wasn't to get like letters or mail sent to me. They just never even ended up contacting me at all. But they booked me an appointment, but I never ever got told about it. And yeah, that was kind of, and then they were like, yeah, it's going to be an 18 months waiting list. So that by this point I was like 17, and yeah, I was obviously knew I was booking my flights to Australia, and yeah, they were like, it's going to be like an 18-month waiting list to go and see somebody, because because I was over 16 or 17. Yeah, I was considered like a class as an adult, so I was an adult patient. So yeah, it was going to take so long for me to even just go and see somebody. I couldn't even go. That's the thing. I couldn't even go if you went to the doctor. If I went to like a private, anybody I went to, they would just refer me to this Sandyford clinic in Glasgow. So they're the only people that deal with dysphoria, which blows my mind. That should not happen. But yeah, that was a big topic that we got asked about, was how young is too young. And at that point, obviously now I'm 20 years old, and I'm like obviously very confident to say that I'm a transgender woman and all that. But to be 13, 14, 15, and to not even get the help to talk to somebody at that point, like for so long, just to speak to somebody for an appointment was like mind blowing to me.
What about in Australia then? Is there more opportunities there at a young age?
Yeah. So when I moved here, when I got here and all that, I only started really looking into it again, like the hormone replacement therapy, and like really starting to like take the next levels of my transition. In June or July. So June and July, I went to a doctor called Dr. Stuart Aitken. He is actually on the Gold Coast, and he works honestly about 10 minutes up the street, like it's not far away. He's a gender specialist, and he's actually amazing. He was so comforting. Like he was so calm, so comforting. Me and Jonathan talked to
So
him.
what would so your journey from now till whenever it's a full transition and everything, what is the step by step? Because obviously I don't know this.
Yeah,
We've never talked about that sort of
step by
stuff. So
step
I'd be interested. And by the way, I just have to point out you are looking beautiful this morning.
Oh, thank you so much.
If anybody just dived in, they'll go, oh, check her out.
Thank you. I mean, I don't get out much, so this is like it's my time to get dressed up and all that. So
All right, is this your? Was it something like that? Isn't it?
It's my weekly night out, so I don't get to go out. So yeah, basically it starts off. You'll start your hormone replacement therapy, where you'll start to take which I mean, I never even actually knew how many different variations of hormones there were.
That's what I mean. So what are you on then? Are you on tablets now?
No, I'm not on any. I'm on nothing as of yet. Purely
But if people are going to start their journey, it'd be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm actually
to monitor your journey throughout to see like this is actually how you do it.
Well, I'm gonna document it all. I actually think it's like been a reason why I haven't started it until now. I definitely think in the next coming weeks and maybe going into January, when I will fully start to really take the next steps to do it. It's just obviously there's like a money aspect to it. When I'm in Australia. Like I can't. I have to pay for everything, like to the doctor's appointments. Like I have to go if I go to a doctor's appointment, it's like $250 to see the doctor just for an hour or for half an hour or something. And then plus obviously all your medication. So basically, yeah. When my story is when I went to Dr. Stuart Aitken, we sat down and they ask you 1,000,001 questions. So like genuinely ask you 1,000,001 questions to really, really, really. There's like they have to be brutal with it because hormone replacement and therapy and putting that stuff into your body is like irreversible. It is intense. It's basically like starting a female hormone puberty again. That's basically what happens to your body. Like it's like really they're actually just like they're stopping your testosterone, which is your male hormone. So basically, when I start, I'll take a testosterone tablet, which will stop little T blocker. It's called. It's like the more common term. Basically what that does is it stops my testosterone, and then I will have either a patch that I'll wear, which will just it'll basically flood my body with estrogen every day, and I'll change it twice a week. But there's like a load of different options. You can get like an injection for the estrogen. You can get like a pill. It all depends on like your blood. So you have to go for blood tests. But basically, when I went, he asked me like 1,000,001 questions. You obviously could quite tell that I was like a woman, like point blank. And basically, he was like, they have to go through this thing to kind of diagnose you with gender dysphoria, which is like just so they're 100% sure. I know obviously it does sound brutal to some people, and it's like this kind of like having to like
But
basically
that's the thing
prove
about getting
yourself.
the.
Yeah, it's having to like prove yourself as being transgender, which I think from a doctor's point of view, like I think it's just they're just wanting to make sure they're no giving you something like if it, because sometimes people have been through like a point of confusion where they have maybe thought they were trans for like maybe a couple of years, and then it turns out they've not been, which is obviously happens. It does happen. It's confusion, like these things, like people can make mistakes with themselves, like or be confused in their bodies. But basically, when I went to the doctor, this is a crazy story. He was like asking me all these questions, and they ask about like you, they ask about my mum, they ask about my sisters, like they ask about literally everything. And obviously, Ocean Lee was in the womb before me. So when Ocean was in the womb before me, basically Ocean Lee's obviously got polycystic ovaries, and Ocean has like a large, and like has a much higher like level of estrogen, like testosterone, sorry, in her body. Like she has a much higher male testosterone in her body. And then basically I was telling the doctor about this and all that. He was obviously sitting asking loads of questions and all this, and asking about when my transition really started, when I felt different and all that. And it actually was so crazy because Ocean Lee, obviously, like we're full sisters. Like basically what happened was, well, that's what the doctors told me, that Ocean Lee's took a large amount of estrogen, testosterone, sorry, like the male hormone, out of my mum's body, and obviously out of you as well. Basically, like her body took a lot of that. So when I was obviously the next child to be born, he basically said to me, like, because of that, like that could have an effect on why there's not a lot of testosterone in my body, because I don't like, if people don't, I don't have an Adam's apple or anything like that, like, or don't have an Adam's apple and obviously have a very feminine mind. And
Do you know what that's actually reminded me of? Remember when Ocean Lee went to the ice cream van and she got us and she went and bought us all an ice cream, and we got all the crappy ice cream, and she come in with this all big singing and dancing one. So that's what she's done.
basically the Dr. Stewart was like, that could actually play a massive part in how you've actually ended up transgender, because if people don't actually know, being transgender is not a choice. It is a choice, but it's not a choice. It's like a choice, obviously, to actually carry out the full transition and all that, but the actual mindset and the actual being transgender comes from within your body. Like it's like my mind is a female mind and I'm in a different body, literally. And he said that, he was like, the testosterone, because your sister's had such a high level of testosterone in the body, when your mum's reproduced the next time, which was me, there's been a very, very low testosterone in her body to give me. So I've had
What
like
about if you're the only child?
well, if I was an only child, it would it would have been different. It could have, I might not have been trans, who knows? Like it would have been
No, I mean, what about only child? People who have no siblings. Just
um
born.
I can't speak to other people's like how they obviously became trans, or how they obviously like their bodies have ended up like that. But that was just personally how it happened to me. It could be different for every other person. But yeah, the doctor was basically
Yeah.
like, that's crazy, because like I have like a big chest naturally. And like, yeah, I had a big chest naturally. I didn't have an Adam's apple or any like the kind of typical male things. He was like, yeah, it was so crazy. So basically, what happens next is I will start I have to go for blood tests. So obviously, as you can imagine, like at this point, I was 19. So yeah, I'm 20 now, but I was 19 at this point, and for somebody to sit down and like basically tell you like the chemicals and the pills and all that you're going to take, like they basically have a massive effect on like your libido, your production, your reproduction, like it's like sperm count basically. So he basically having to sit and go through all these different options and me like freezing like my sperm, and it was quite intense. Like I'm only obviously 19 years old, so somebody to sit and tell me like I have to like basically make this decision before I start. Basically, I had to make this decision of do you want kids or not before I started this transition, because obviously like when they start injecting you when they start injecting you with female hormones, your sperm count and all that like goes to like low, if not nothing, like goes to dust, literally. So
Does that if you so in your mind, have you decided that you will not have any children at all? Or
No, I definitely will. I definitely will want kids, but obviously it was just like it's very intense to actually sit like when we were sitting talking about it and all that, and obviously like me and Jonathan leaving, and I was like, holy shit, like I have to make this decision now, and we're like, I have to. It's obviously a lot of money, like to get your sperm frozen. So like if people don't know, you get your sperm frozen, it stays in a sperm bank for 10 to 12 years. It can stay there for. But it's like I think the initial thing's like $1,000 to go, or $1,000 or somewhere around that to actually go and get the initial like freezing done, and then they basically keep it in a lab for 10 up to 10 or 12 years. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. It's about 10 or 12 years anyway. They keep it for, but you have to pay like $200 every 6 months for them to keep it there for you. And I think it was just very intense. Like us, like obviously people don't know, like being 19, I'd like having kids and all that. It's obviously like everybody wants to have kids. Obviously, I can't carry my own children. Literally, can't carry my own children. But it was just a bit like, holy shit! Like this is actually really intense. It's about to happen. And yeah, like basically the tablets they give you, they start to like change your voice. They give you like a mental, basically a mental like menstrual cycle, basically, is that what it's called? Like your period, basically. They'll give you like a mental period, like your hormones can be like really up and down, like super emotional. Great, can't wait for that.
I always remember you said it was years ago about people who were gay, or when they come out gay, then all of a sudden one day they're talking in a right deep voice. Then remember we said it, and the next one, then after they come out, they say that they're gay. Then it's hiya and all that, and you're thinking, oh, how come you weren't talking like that yesterday?
Yeah, but that comes down to people like trying to fit into society. Like a lot of like people that haven't try to fit into society, keeping this like low male hard voice or and all that, and then obviously when they come out, they start to feel a bit more free, like can do what they want. But yeah, the whole transition thing was like the starting the hormones and all that, and then like I would have to go for a blood test to actually find out what T blockers, what testosterone blockers, and what estrogen I would actually need and all that. Because I'll go through your blood and all that, which I never knew about. It's all there's so many different types of pills, tablets, injections, like patches. Like there's a lot to deal with. So I've just been taking this time now to kind of really like focus on myself, get my own stuff out of the way, so that I can really take when I start my transition, all that I can really take that time to like look after myself and not be like run down from life anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's a lot to
How long's the transition then? How long does it take?
So I will be on estrogen for the rest of my life. And T blockers, I'll probably be on them for a good couple of years, if not the rest of my life. The thing is, obviously, like my testosterone in my body's really low anyway, so it obviously will just depend on what the doctor says eventually. But I'll start that, and then I'll start that and get my boobs done. Obviously, whatever one comes first. Get my boobs done is obviously more than just it's like more than just it's more than just getting fake titties, to be honest. Like literally, it's like when I was younger and like through like obviously being like a teenager and all that. It's not really until I've got to like my adult stage that I'm like, right, I just want to feel comfortable in my body. Like, and I know obviously people are just like, it's just boobs. Like boobs don't define you. That like something
What would you say to people who are, or to teenagers that's listening in now? Your advice, because obviously you say, look, you have to give it some serious thought because it's obviously life changing.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at like give it at least 6 months, because that's actually really good advice. You don't have to rush it. You know what your journey's going to be. Just make sure it's definitely the right one.
I totally understand when kids that are 15, 16, 17 that I totally understand when they want everything done just now, because I was very much the same. Like if somebody gave me the money at 16 to want my boobs done, you better believe I would have been on that surgery table in no time, like 100%. Do you know what I mean? I do understand, like they obviously want. I do understand that it's something that you want done, but let me just tell you, when you hit 20, you start to realise there is actually a lot. Like you start to realise that like you've still got a full life ahead of you. Whereas a lot of time, I think when you're 15, 16, 17, all that, you're looking up to like social media stars, celebrities, influencers. You're looking up to these like stars that are trans, or like if you're looking up to a trans person, you look up to as a model or an icon or whatever. You're really looking up to them. They've been in your position before, and like all I need to like, I kind of like what I like reiterate the fact is like your time's coming, like your time is coming. Like I was thinking about it now that I was not meant to be 16 and getting like transitioning then, because it would have been my life would be a completely different story now. Everything happens for a reason. So people listen just now and feel like they're kind of like a groundhog day where they can't they're just not moving forward to their transition and all that. I would definitely just say to them, like, it will come and it will happen. Like, I'm the same boat. I'm waiting myself. I'm patiently waiting. The universe is going to give me everything that I want at the right time, like the most perfect timing. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I would just, patience is key. Patience is so key. And yeah, just got to keep on looking forward because it will happen eventually. But yeah, the bottom half.
Do you think, though, is it just since you've went to Australia and had the support from the doctors in Australia as opposed to like in the UK, you might not even have seen anybody now, so you might be.
I would, yeah. I think obviously like the NHS and all that, the health service and all that back home do an amazing job daily. Like obviously during the whole coronavirus thing, they do an amazing job, but there definitely needs to be more help. There needs to be more like understanding, and even they're trying to say like obviously there was only one gender specialist at that time that was in the whole of Scotland, which is what is there 7 million people in Scotland? Like for one person to control 7 million people like that, for one person to be in charge of 7 million people, like which obviously there's not 7 million trans people in Scotland, but do you know what I mean? There's a large number of people in Scotland that there needs to be more people. There needs to be more help, like doctors and nurses or whatever, like who work in these GPs and practices and all that, like should be given more like education on these things now because it's such a more common thing. And even if they're not particularly prescribing the drugs or prescribing the medication or whatever, like having that help there to be able to go and like speak to somebody about that.
Probably in about the past 2 weeks, probably about the last month or something, I now know probably about 30 people who are trans.
It's so crazy.
Or like either them themselves or the children, and you're like, going, wow.
Wow, I know. It's crazy, but it's the fact that like there's not enough help there just now, which blows my mind. But yeah, when I came to Australia, it was actually, see, to be honest, it's because a lot of time, like I was paying for everything here, like it's private, like they have like Medicare here, which is like the kind of same thing as the NHS, but my situation does not cover. I don't get Medicare because obviously my visa and blah 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 blah. I'm not entitled to it. So it kind of gave me a thing like thank God because I actually could fast track it. Like I could literally phone up Dr. Stewart and basically now all I need to do is go and get my blood tests done, go and get blood testing done and all that, where they'll be able to find like obviously like the full details of what I need, like what hormones I need, what level of hormones are going to start me on. But yeah, I'm excited to actually take you, Dad, and our viewers and listeners or whatever on the journey with me because I'm definitely going to be documenting the whole thing. And really, yeah, giving people that insight because I think a lot of time people, obviously everybody's transition is very like personal to them. If they want to keep it personal, they want to like. I feel like my transition hasn't fully started yet because, like, it started. I feel like the next parts haven't started yet for a reason, and I think this reason is from Bradley to Bebe. I feel like it's happening at the right time. Do you know what I mean? For me to actually, as you say, help guide people and help and just give people my experience and how it happens, how it happened to me, how it's going to happen to me because it's crazy we're sitting talking about this now. I don't even know the journey we're in for yet either. Like, and it's my body, which is crazy. It's absolutely
good.
So crazy.
It's good as long as it'll obviously help people understand if they do, because it is that's it. The biggest part is trying to understand it because obviously I don't understand it and I'm not going, so what is your next phase? So now I do. Now even in the past 10 minutes, I've now about gone into tablets. I mean, even the commitment to saying, right, I definitely want children in the future. So what have I got to do? I've got to freeze my sperm and then move into transition. But then the next point is, well, how do we have children?
Yeah.
Do we adopt? That sort of stuff.
Do we adopt? Do we do like surrogacy?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options, which is so crazy. Like I've had a few sidekicks, which is pure. Obviously, you can believe them or not. I do believe a lot. Like I do believe like in what they say. Like I feel like this world's absolutely that mental anyway. That how would sidekicks not be real? Do you know what I mean? Like even the fact that we're even on this planet and this planet spins and floats in the middle of the air is mental. is mind blowing. So the fact of like, yeah. So anyway, I went to a few psychics, and the two of them I've been to see in Australia, which I'm not even kidding on.
Sorry, I just while you were saying that there, right, when you're talking about how the world spins, I could just visualize in your head a couple of planets going around, going, "What the hell is going on here?"
How the hell is this happening? No, the world is that mental. The fact that we're even here as people like living our lives is mental anyway. So anyway, point blank, I believe in psychics and believe everything they say. Not believe everything they say, but believe what they're telling me is coming from somewhere. But I had two psychics in Australia that knew nothing about me, not my name, like nothing. Just like literally went and seen them, and both of them said to me like I know this is going to sound mental. And I was like, right. And they were like, obviously you can't carry your own kids. Like, well, in this point in life, you can't carry your own kids. But they were like that to me, like, you're going to have kids. Like, they've obviously always said you're going to have children. But they're like, we can't see, like, adopted. Like, basically, they've been like that, like, I don't know what science and whatever's going to come out in the future in the next 10 years. Scientists are amazing. But they were like, these two psychics did not know each other at all. Both of them said to me like, "You're going to be able to carry your own children eventually." Like, and I was like, "What?" And they were like, "That is crazy. Like, it's crazy that I'm even saying it because it's physically impossible at this point in time." But they're like, "That telling you now, science and mankind is going to be like the humanity is going to be able to like." That's not it's going to happen in the future. Like, this is going to be a possibility in the future for trans women to be able to carry their own kids and all that, which I was like, holy shit. So we'll just obviously have to find out and see if, Mama ends up tough, you know what I'm saying? But
Meanwhile, back on planet Earth, come on.
Back in planet Earth.
I had a cracking week at work actually, because I was invited to it was like a chat session on Tuesday morning. I work for British Gas, and we had I was invited to the LGBT. It's a thing called Spectrum.
Yeah.
It's what we have on the internet, like, and it was for the people of British Gas itself. So I actually put our podcast onto the intranet, and I got a lot of people coming back and saying, yeah, and it was strange. I mean, people like the director of change, something like that, just emailing us and saying that was an absolutely fantastic podcast. When I listened to one of my pals who I work with, he said, "Do you know something? Coming on the telco yesterday, and if you haven't listened to Levi's podcast, go on there now and listen to it again." And it was really said, because I sat down, I was sitting in the bath, and I thought I put it on, and I was thinking, what? He goes, yeah, I just sat there for the full hour and listened on to your podcast. But yeah, it was great, it was good, and I was talking to. There was two people on the other. Obviously, I'm not going to say the names. There's two people on the screen, and we're chatting away, and it's as if because people have gone on the chat saying, "Oh, you're very brave" and all that stuff. But we were just talking normal because three of us, well, in particular one other, it was natural to us. We were just talking natural. Do you know what I mean? And it was weird how people are trying to say that. Yeah, it's good to watch it. It's good to get things out, but it doesn't mean anything. Also, just talking.
You're just talking about your life, which is so crazy. Like, obviously, like me and you, this is our normal lives. Like, I don't wake up every day and think, oh my God, I'm transgender. Like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't wake up and just think, wow, what a great day to be trans. You know what I mean? It's like, I just wake up and live my normal life. But to some people, my normal life and how I live my life is absolutely mental. Do you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with you. Like, we just talk about it normally, and it's just like, it's a normal thing because obviously I'm your daughter and that's that. But people obviously who have never been in that situation or never, they don't have trans kids or whatever, I've never met a trans person before, it is very, very, very abnormal. But I hate to make it, yeah, I still have 3 meals a day, still have to go and poo and piss and have to even have hydration in me. Like, I'm still a human being, which is me.
Well, that's I thought, because I've sent you a little video of one of the proudest things I've seen you do, and it's nothing to do with trans at all.
Yeah, well, that will actually be in. That will be in the once I edit it. That will be in the with the viewers would have already listened to it and seen it. But I want to quickly talk to you about this quickly, Dad, before we go. So I don't want to obviously toot my own horn or nothing, but I went pretty viral on TikTok this week. Do you know what TikTok is?
I've heard of it.
So basically,
by the way, I'm not 70. I am only 48, so I do like IT stuff. You know what I mean? Do you know what TikTok is?
Basically,
Is that what you get on the clock?
I went a bit viral on TikTok. You know, I got let me just tell you, it's the most views I've ever had in my life, actually. I got 64.1 thousand views on a video, and it was this one. And as you can see, it's basically like going from 25,
Aye.
it's us two there, and then us two again, and then it's just basically a before and after 2020. Basically, one of these transition videos, it obviously went off. It got 1,055 likes, and I only have 280 followers on TikTok. But when I posted this TikTok, I only had like 45. But let me just read you some of the comments quickly because I think they're absolutely hilarious, and I would love to get your verdict on them, right? So obviously, you know that the internet is a breeding ground for love and positivity always, but also some people just have a lot of spare time to hate.
Right,
So the first one is, let me just go down that. So there's actually 36, 37 comments. I'll read out so somebody wrote this, Subuda21, she wrote, it's public anyway, so I'm going to say her name because it's on public domain. Why are there so many trannies on TikTok?
I'm not a tranny, and I'm on it.
Me? Who, me? Don't talk about my dad like that. I was like, what? I was like, what? I didn't know there was like an in and out of one in, one out kind of basis of trannies in TikTok. But anyway, we got a guy called Colo716. He wrote, that's not cool. If God made you a boy, that's who you are. Well done, Colo716.
Cool.
God wants to take me out on a date. Let's not lie about the whole situation. The next one is, how embarrassing for your poor dad. Dad, are you embarrassed of me?
Oh, I'm gutted.
Somebody wrote, for a ladyboy, not bad. Thank you, sir. Thank you. What other ones is there? Father cried himself to sleep every night. Now, Dad, I know this sleep insomnia of yours is a belter, but does my transition make you cry yourself to sleep every night? Yes or no?
You see, if it actually helped me get to sleep, I'd be buzzing with that. But no, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. I'm probably more concerned about about you being in Australia away than anything.
I know. Yeah. Great. So that was a great comment from him. And then we'll just go for one more because this is funny. Dude, you put on a wig and some slap. Now, baby boy, let me tell you, this wig on my head was motherfucking expensive. Do you know what I mean? This is natural. Well, not natural. It's mine, but half of it's from someone else's head. But this was not some wig and some slap, babe. This was a couple of years of some doctors and some, filler and some extensions. So if it was just about a wig and some slap, please tell me what wig and some slap it was, because that would sound much cheaper than how I
That's
look.
probably what he's putting on at the minute when he's rocking backwards and forwards in the shower.
Yeah, he's probably also followed me on Instagram trying to slide into my DMs and tell me how beautiful I am from a fake account. Let's not lie about it. But so just to clear that up, guys, my father does not cry himself to sleep overnight over my transition, and this wig on my head was not $5.
Right, listen, I need to go there now, right? But it's been brilliant.
Thank you so much, Dad, for another fabulous episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you'd like to ask us a question,
I was just saying, definitely let's keep it going for the transition, for helping people and the things that you need to go through, because some people don't, and I don't know.
Yes. If anybody has any questions on my transition or transitioning in general, or has any questions you'd like to ask my dad, or just anything in general, don't forget to give.
Or how you generally want to put your wig and some slap on.
Just wanting me to teach you how to do some wig and some slap, that's absolutely no problem. This has been Bebe and
Padre,
aka Levi, on from Bradley to Bebe. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you all have a great week. It's starting Monday. Let's have a fabulous week. Dad, we ready for it? Let's do
rock on.
Right, love you. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Right, I love you. See you later.
I've been looking through my memories. I've been trying to see your face, but you're moving like a mystery.